Hey everyone, just so you know, the following video is a clip from a show I actually do on AFTV. The full link for the video is in the description below. Thank you for your continued support, really appreciate it. I want to talk about this man here, David Raya, the goalkeeper situation.
I knew you were going to talk about him today, John.
I know, I'm sorry. It had to come up, it was going to come up. Here he is. Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do, we haven't recreated the goal, apologies. We've had actually a few technical issues in the filming of this. Big up to production who've got us this far. But I want to talk about David Raya, who's standing around here when the ball comes into the box. And the ball from, let's get this. The ball from Mudryk, this is the movement we're looking at. Something like this. Let's not show it, let's do that again. So he's standing about here, and it goes right into the side netting. Is Raya at fault for this?
Yes.
100%.
Look, I'll be honest with you, I've said it myself. I think Mudryk is attempting a cross there. When you've signed for Chelsea for a lot of money and you haven't scored any goals, and you score one, you're going to milk it, aren't you? And that's what he did. He basically turned around and said he'd been told. I think
it's his second, but yeah.
He'd been told by his coach that Raya's positioning is always aggressive, and so he knew that would be the case, and he meant that. Oh, I just can't believe that.
No, he didn't.
I don't think he did. He
look up once.
Look. So you could argue Raya was slightly unlucky in the fact that Mudryk, I think, attempted a cross and it went over him into the goal. But his positioning there, for me, for a cross, is all wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see my goalkeeper there when a guy's got the ball out there. I want him more central. They had two forwards in the box here, Palmer and Sterling, being marked by Tomiyasu and Gabriel, right? So I want him to come and take that. I don't want him to be there. I want him to be here.
Here's my thing, right? I've said it on Forever Arsenal Fan Cam full time. How proactive a goalkeeper should be is determined by their ability to get back. So if he can stand on the halfway line, but he's the Flash from, I'm a Marvel fan, I don't watch all the other superhero films, and he can get back in time and react, I don't care. But the point is, I always think you should be able, how far you come, if he wants to stand here, I don't care, as long as you can get back. I would think, and when we do these shows, I'm always very careful. I'm like, I've never been a goalkeeper. I feel that as someone who's played the game and done a bit of coaching here and there, I feel like I can somewhat reasonably comment on the positioning of other players and certain. With goalkeepers, I find it difficult to have an opinion. I've never been a goalkeeper, nor am I a goalkeeping coach. I would think be more in line with your near post, slightly deeper, and therefore if something comes near post, you can get low to it. We saw Ramsdale make a great save in the Community Shield from a Rodri header because he was able to get low to the near post, that kind of thing. But he stands much further out, much further from the goal and higher up the pitch as well. Not quite up to the full 6-yard line, but nearly. Now, I want to show you all something. Let me show you some average positions. I'm going to show you our average positions map on screen right now. On the left, we've got David Raya's average position for the season and Aaron Ramsdale's on the right. Sorry, on the left, David Raya, on the right, Aaron Ramsdale. Now, there's not really a lot in it, but it does look like David Raya's average position looks slightly wider, like he is happier to come into those wider areas. Remember, Raya's played 5 games, Ramsdale's played 4. So actually, it's a really good time to start comparing the two. Suggests to you that Raya does want to come further off his line to get more involved and be a bit more proactive. Also want to show you this, the FBref goalkeeping stats and percentile ranking. Raya has stopped 17.5% of crosses. That puts him in the 98th percentile. Ramsdale only 6%. Defensive actions outside the penalty area, 2.4 for Raya, almost double Ramsdale's 1.29. And average distance of defensive actions, 19.4 yards to 16.7 yards. And look, he ranks in the 98th, 93rd and 90th percentile. David Raya for all those things. Ramsdale quite a way off. So this is not me saying Ramsdale isn't as good as David Raya. I'm just putting evidence out there to suggest that Raya is clearly being told, be more proactive, deal with things quicker, take the load off your centre-backs when it comes to defending your penalty area. That's all well and good, but our team's going to start noticing that. And yeah, maybe Mudryk didn't mean it, but maybe they're going to find a way to exploit that particular tactic because he is someone who plays a lot of his football further from his goal than Ramsdale.
But does he have to stand there? to actually do that. Why can't he stand just 2 yards further back?
Well, and this isn't a defence of Raya. It's not. I'm just trying to say that.
So are you blaming Arteta?
Well, two things could be true, which is that Arteta wants Raya to be further from his goal, but maybe Raya misjudged his positioning on that one. I don't know. You could also just say, look, it's pure luck and it's a bit of a freak moment. I think the theory is, this is the theory in my opinion. Arteta and Iñaki Kanya are looking at Raya's positioning and going, well, how many times is a Mudryk goal of that can be scored? Once every 100 games, maybe? Like, it's a complete freak. He says it's on purpose, I don't believe him. But even if it is on purpose, to pull that off with your weaker foot, bit of a freak moment. I think the theory will be, more often than not, Raya's going to claim whatever comes into the area, job done, it's going to stop a striker getting his head on it, going to alleviate the pressure off his defenders, he's going to give us a chance to counter-attack as well, and actually it's worth the risk. I think that's the theory. But I still don't like his position.
Well, I just can't see, you're not showing it on this graphic here, but you got Sterling and Palmer.
Yeah, Gabriel and
Thomas are the defenders. He had two Chelsea forwards in here.
Palmer and Sterling.
Palmer and Sterling. I think Sterling's more over that side, James, if I remember correctly. But it's irrelevant. The point I'm trying to make here is if he wants to come and claim the cross, if Mudryk's going to sling it in towards them, he's going to sling it in here for them to attack, isn't he? Mm-hmm. So why does he need to be 2 yards further forward to that side of the goal?
That's fair enough.
If he's 2 yards back, he can still come and take the ball.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. I really don't understand it. It is a freak goal. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that, what that does now to Raya, we saw how it affected him afterwards. It affected his confidence massively. Immediately he made another error and he was all over the place. He gave the ball to Palmer. He did well to retrieve it. But all of a sudden he's putting himself under pressure. Now, when you come into a big club, he's not playing for Brentford now. He's playing for Arsenal. And no disrespect to Brentford. I've got a few Brentford mates, right? But he's playing for Arsenal. That's a big club. He's under pressure. And to be honest with you, you want to make a good start in any position. He'd started well for 2 games. Mm-hmm. His form started to dip. He made an error against Lens. He made an error against Tottenham. He nearly gave a goal away against Manchester City. And all of a sudden now, he's under pressure. You'd think, let's go back to getting the basics right because you don't want to keep making mistakes. I understand Arteta wants him to be proactive, but I just couldn't understand why he needed to be there. I think he's just mentally made a mistake. I honestly believe he's 2 yards further across there by mistake. It's nothing to do with being proactive. He's decided mentally, for some reason, he's made a mistake mentally. He's just gone across that side of the goal and Mudryk's fluked it. And that's what I think. And now all of a sudden he's under enormous pressure. I know the numbers support the fact that he's proactive, that he's more further from his goal and everything. The one thing I'll say in his defence, I'll say one other thing actually. I don't know if you know this stat. He's actually now, and he faced a penalty in the first half from Carlton Palmer. He's now conceded all 7 of his penalties. 6 for Brentford and 1 for Arsenal. All 7 he's faced, he's conceded. Only Marshall.
We got on to Ramsdale about, didn't we?
We go. So Ramsdale used to struggle to stay penalties. This guy, only Marshall, a goalkeeper who played, I think, for Cardiff and Hull, as worst numbers. He let in all 9 of the 9 he faced. So he's under pressure now. He's under pressure. So why put yourself under further pressure? One thing I will add on Aaron Ramsdale, because all of a sudden, sometimes when you're not playing in the game, suddenly you come out of games better, don't you? And now he's sort of going to start knocking Arteta's door, isn't he? But I do remember a game last year, I think it was against Aston Villa at the Emirates, I was there, when his positioning was all over the place from a corner, and Villa scored from a corner. I can't remember who took the corner, it swung in, he wasn't in the correct position, they scored. There was an argument, was he fouled or impeded, but he wasn't in the correct position. So I think that's why Arteta doesn't want goalkeepers to be bullied, he wants goalkeepers to be proactive. But I can't understand why he would be 2 yards across that box for that action.
To sum up, the reason I bring this up, because I can read the comments already in my head. Stop making excuses for Raya, it's a rare mistake. What I'm saying is, I think, in my humblest of opinions, that he's too far off his goal line, and he's not just this way too far, he's that way too far, in my opinion. So the fact that he can't get back, I think, basically a third of the blame is on Raya for his position. It doesn't look right. I do think a third of the reason why this goal happened is just complete luck. I mean, he's literally kind of floated it and lifted it right into the side netting. That's a pretty bloody good goal, whether he meant it or not. And I do think a final third goes to Arteta and the coaching staff, where, again, just for this goal alone, I'm not saying that this doesn't reap more reward and benefits in 99% of other moments in the game, but I think there is instruction clearly to be really brave and slow on the ball to invite the pressure and invite the press and therefore try and play out, but B, to have a starting position. That means that Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Saliba, whoever it might be, they're not heading out for a corner, they're not heading it back out into a dangerous area, they're not heading it back out to then have to sustain another wave of pressure. They're saying, goalkeeper, get it, done. Defensive duties carried out for the next minute or so. And I just think, while I think Raya has got his position a little bit wrong, I feel like there's more to it than just him going, oh, I'm going to just stand over here. I don't know. I feel like he can consider himself a little unlucky.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you there. He was a little unlucky, but I stick to what I say, and that is I just can't understand why he was 2 yards across that side of his goal. I do think it was a fluke, despite what Mudryk says. And it does now, what this does now ignites the debate.
Well, who would you start?
Raya and Ramsdale. Well, I think Arteta's boxed himself into a really difficult position now, because he turned around and said that he was bringing Raya in to compete with Ramsdale and it'd be on performance. Now, if that's the case, then he's got to bring Ramsdale back against Seville this week, because Raya hasn't been playing well enough, you could argue. So he's boxed himself into a real position now. But my view on it is, I honestly believe he brought Raya in, despite what he said to the media, because we all know when he reveals his team selections or injury updates to the media, he's not always, he lets them guess and he doesn't sort of like tell them the truth, so to speak. And I think it's the same with the goalkeeping position. I don't think, and I don't know what conversations are going on with him and his two goalkeepers, what he said to Ramsdale. I think he's got a lot of respect for Ramsdale. He said it again on Saturday. But I think he sees Raya as the number one. And I don't think he's going to change him at the moment. The more that the press keeps saying this, bringing this up, he's going to, you know what he's like, he's very stubborn. But I think he's boxed himself into a corner, because basically he said it's got to be on performance. Yeah. And when you've got two, that's the problem you have when you have two goalkeepers who are roughly the same level. You know, because Ramsdale's going to be banging his... if I was Ramsdale, once I've tucked my baby in the morning and said, kiss me wife goodbye...
Congratulations, by the way.
Congratulations to Aaron on that. I'll be running up to Arteta, banging on his door and saying, I want to play on Tuesday. Would you not?
Yeah, well, of course I would. I'd be furious. If Cecil was stepping in to do tactical insight, making a mess of it for 3 weeks in a row, I'd be knocking on Robbie's door saying, give me the show back. Yeah. Look, here's where I am on the debate. I think if you're going to make it a fair fight, make it a fair fight. Ramsdale shouldn't have to do more than Raya to get the spot, because I don't believe there's much in it between them. Raya's had some shaky moments. Get Ramsdale, and this is 3 games in a row now. Lens, City and Chelsea. Came away with, well, a win, a draw and a defeat, and a clean sheet against City, fair enough. I think Ramsdale deserves certainly the Sevilla game, maybe the game on the weekend as well, because it's at home and all that. I do think if you're going to bring in David Raya for 30 million, you're going to disrupt what you've got with Aaron Ramsdale. You're going to give the back four a new goalkeeper to get used to. What he should be bringing should be levels. I should be watching and going, okay, maybe he got lobbed. Maybe he doesn't look as good a shot stopper as Ramsdale, but his passing looks immaculate. And wow, it gets us from one end of the pitch to the other superbly. We did analyse on the tactical insight for PSV how brilliant his long passes, especially to Havertz, were. Superb. I need to see that more regularly than not, but at the moment it's not that regular. I think Raya needs to look, in terms of claiming crosses and dominating his area, he needs to look comfortably levels above what we're seeing from Ramsdale. But because he's not, and I've seen that Ramsdale can be a fantastic shot stopper and big game player, like Villa away, like Newcastle away, like Tottenham away, like Liverpool away, where he pulls off worldly saves, I just think if it's not a massive level up in terms of the distribution and the cross claim and all that, I'd rather stick to the goalkeeper who's better at keeping the ball out their net. And at the moment, Ramsdale's looking that more. But am I absolutely writing off Raya? No way, it's way too early. Raya could well be the better goalkeeper, and I'm still very open to seeing that. But at the moment, he's had a few moments. Ramsdale's done nothing wrong. Give it a fair fight. Ramsdale comes in. And everyone keeps saying, yeah, but the back four will be disrupted. And come on. They're both good goalkeepers. They should be able to deal with it, the back four. And that's where I sit on
And
it.
it's an interesting debate, and we'll see how it plays out in the week, won't we? When he makes his selection for the Seville game.
We will find out very soon.